After living in the southern U.S. for half my life, it's needless to say that I've had my fair share of exposure to tea and tea-related beverages. Sweet tea is the undisputed drink of choice down here. You can find it everywhere, from fast food restaurants to gas stations to children selling it on the neighborhood street sides during the summertime. Tea in general is the second most widely consumed drink in the world and is well known for its aromatic and soothing properties. However, when it comes to the use of tea-scented aroma chemicals and compounds in fragrances, the options seem to feel few and far between. I was ready to give up in my quest to find the perfect tea scent.
But that all changed when I met Tea for Two. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel Triple Ink, and I've been a bit selfish here. This is going to be a fragrance review on Tea for Two from L'Artisan, which I promised about a year ago, I know. But if all is forgiven, I'd like for y'all to maybe get comfy, pull up a chair, maybe pour yourself some tea, take a seat, get comfy, and let's get into this review. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the way tea tastes, but I do really enjoy the smell for some reason. I find it very comforting, soothing, and relaxing. For the longest time, I was searching for just the perfect tea fragrance. I came across Gucci Pour Homme 2, and I thought that I had found it. I thought that I had reached tea heaven. But that all changed the first time that I smelled Tea for Two from L'Artisan Parfumeur. This changed the game for me in terms of what I thought a tea fragrance could become. I would like to start off this review by taking a look at the presentation of Tea for Two, and I'm a sucker for when companies go the extra mile and put a lot of effort into the little details. For me, it's the little details that count the most, and L'Artisan hit the nail on the head with that aspect of this presentation. Let me start off by saying that these newer bottles, which you will find on the market nowadays, they come with this sort of gray and black translucent bottle. The older bottles, which are a lot harder to find because L'Artisan did a complete revamping of their line, they're very ornate. I think they look maybe a little bit better, but their newer ones, as far as they go, this is what they're looking like. In terms of these little details, L'Artisan definitely paid attention to them. You have this little inscription right here written in gold of the L'Artisan logo, which I think is very nice, and it's also featured here on the back of the glass and on the box as well. Speaking of the box, you have a little description on the back of what this fragrance really evokes, as they do with every single scent from their line. I think that's a very nice little extra touch. Even the sides of the bottle, the way that it's shaped, it really reminds me of slit windows that you used to find in medieval castles or cathedrals. And also when you take a look at price, L'Artisan is offering an amazing value for what you're getting, not only in terms of presentation, but also in terms of the actual scent quality itself, which we will be getting into very shortly here. But wow, from a presentation standpoint, this is on par price point wise with the upper end of designer level. You can find this for a pretty reasonable price, and with considering how unique these scents are that L'Artisan has, and also the diversity that they have within their house. There's literally something for everybody, which I think is great. So L'Artisan, they are definitely doing something right. With that being said, I'm definitely a big fan of the presentation, obviously, and L'Artisan, keep it up. All right, now let's actually get into the scent of Tea for Two from L'Artisan Parfumeur. In the opening, I can definitely see how this could potentially be off-putting to some people, so I'm going to break it down like this. I'm going to ask you two simple questions. One, are you a tobacco fragrance lover? And two, how do you like smoky fragrances? If you were a resounding no to either of these two questions, then Tea for Two may not be your cup of tea, so to speak. You've been warned, more puns ahead. Alright, so this opening is really quite special. You have this aromatic green leafy tea accord that's in here, mixed with probably the most complex tobacco that I have ever come across in a fragrance. One word that really comes across to me to describe this, especially in the opening, would be lush. This smells almost very moist and kind of damp in the opening with the tobacco because it's very heavy and weighed down with spices, but somehow at the same time it is equally transparent and smoky, slightly ashy, a little bit, but at the same time it has that transparent kind of quality to it that just really lifts it up and aerifies it. So it's this very interesting juxtaposition, if you will, in the opening of textures between lush, moist, damp, and airy, smoky, and effervescent. It's very interesting. I'm going to say for some, the head rush, the initial head rush in the opening of all these notes coming at you at once could be a lot for some people to take in, and could definitely be overwhelming and quite off-putting because it has that weird kind of niche factor to it. I could definitely see that in the opening, but give this a little bit of time to work on your skin, because when it dries down, really the second kind of stage of this fragrance, like about a half an hour in, the tea really starts to come up and it smells very, very similar to just a really nice delicious, warm chai tea. If you guys have ever smelled that, it just really starts to smell like that. Very, very nice, and a ton of spices burst into the scene, like ginger, cinnamon. You also get a gingerbread note, which is very nice, and I believe anise is in here as well. So just a very delicious, spicy, warm, delicious heart. And when you get to the dry down, this is when, in my opinion, it gets the most appealing to wear and to smell, because it really reminds me a lot of tobacco vanille, actually, in the dry down. You get spices, and vanilla and honey are the two big players that add a very, very nice sweetness to the composition, which I think is very much needed, because that opening, it can be kind of dry and slightly smoky, as I said. That sweetness really helps to round everything out as you get towards the end of the life of the fragrance. So I'm just going to say, if you're not a huge fan of the opening of this fragrance, give it a little bit of time to wear down your skin, because it does have a very nice development to it, and you might be surprised in the dry down of actually how much you have come to enjoy it. But just beware of that opening, like I've said about 10 times already in this video. And with that, let's go with the performance really quickly. Very good projection on this for 2 hours, and then it just dives down after that. It becomes a very nice skin scent, because I actually do get around 8 to 10 hours of longevity from this scent life total, which is actually very nice. And yeah, it's a skin scent after about 3 or 4 hours, but it's a beautiful skin scent because of the warm, delicious honey, vanilla, spicy combination that you have in that dry down. In my opinion, it makes it really appealing for a close encounter situation. And yeah, this is a little more of a mature smell. I will say that. I mean, I feel like guys older than me would probably be a little bit more comfortable rocking this. It does come off classy and a little bit more upscale, if you will. So I would definitely reach for this. Maybe if you're going out for a nice dinner or maybe a romantic evening as well. I could definitely see this working very well, especially in the dry down, because, man, that vanilla, delicious honey combination, it's very, very appealing, like a great cuddle scent. And I've also been caught wearing this to work several times as well, and maybe to church and stuff. So I think it's a very nice, very classy scent for that. And also fall, autumn, the season that we are currently in my opinion, the best season to wear tea for two. All right, and as I try and beat the darkness here, let's go to the last category, guys, the compliments. This is the category that makes me quite sad. Have never gotten a compliment with this one. I can definitely see why, because it is a little more of a challenging scent in the opening. It's not one that people are going to want to walk up to and just give you a compliment out of the blue. This is something that's a little bit, has that weird factor to it, has that niche factor. So this is something I think for the user to more enjoy on their own terms. So what are my final thoughts on Tea for Two from L'Artisan Parfumeur? This is a very nice tobacco fragrance, through and through in my opinion. It really brings something unique to the table. I love the presentation. I think the scent, the quality is 100% there. It just smells very unique, really like nothing else I have in my collection in that opening. Very nice, spicy, and warming, and delicious, and awesome. So if you are into tea fragrances and you would really like to try something a little bit out there, a little bit different than your typical tea-based scent, try this one out. Trust me, you won't regret it. So everybody, that's going to do it for me. Hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know what your thoughts are on about Tea for Two in the comment section down below. If you've tried this one, please let me know about that down there. And that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully I'll see you guys again back on the channel sometime soon. Until then, have a nice day. Cheers.